Real Madrid signed Kylian Mbappé and still could not win a single major trophy for 2 straight seasons. Meanwhile, a German coach who never played a minute at Camp Nou walked in and collected 5 trophies before anyone in Spain fully understood what was happening. And the terrifying part, for every Madrid fan watching right now, is that the squad responsible for all of that destruction was not even finished yet.
This could be the first time in several years that Real Madrid do not win a trophy.
What Hansi Flick is building at Barcelona right now is not just a great team, it is a problem that Real Madrid have no obvious way to solve. If you are a Real Madrid supporter, the last 2 seasons have tested you in a way that the Mbappé announcement was supposed to prevent. You were told the Galactico era was returning, and the attacking firepower would be overwhelming. And then, you watched Barcelona win 2 consecutive La Liga titles, 2 Spanish Super Cups, and a Copa del Rey, while your team stood in the background holding nothing. By May of 2026, Hansi Flick had sealed the 2nd league title with 3 games still remaining, beating Real Madrid 2-0 at the Camp Nou and finishing 14 points clear. 14 points feels less like a title race and more like a team playing a different sport from everyone around them. Across 7 Clásicos under Flick, Barcelona won 6 and lost only once, and every single final between the 2 sides ended with Barcelona celebrating, while Madrid walked off the pitch with nothing left to say. The part that should genuinely unsettle every neutral watching this is that the core responsible for all of that dominance was already performing at an elite level before a single summer 2026 signing walked through the door. Lamine Yamal was producing superstar output while still a teenager. Raphinha was delivering double-digit contributions, as though excellence was simply his default setting. Pedri was controlling the tempo of matches in a way that only a handful of midfielders on the planet can. Pau Cubarsí was defending an absurdly high line across nearly 50 games, without the defensive structure collapsing. And Joan García was providing the clean sheet security that made the whole system sustainable. The uncomfortable truth for Madrid is that the Barcelona side, which already owned La Liga, was still actively shopping for reinforcements when the season ended, and the man in charge was still finding ways to make it faster. Every manager who walked into Barcelona since Guardiola left wrestled with the same impossible tension between honoring the club's identity and adapting to the modern game. Some tried to recreate the Guardiola era and ended up looking like tribute acts, while others ignored the identity entirely and lost the dressing room within months. Flick resolved that tension more convincingly than any of them by refusing to treat it as a choice at all. He studied the Cruyff lineage running through Barcelona's DNA, and instead of preserving those principles like artifacts behind glass, he upgraded them with pressing intensity and a vertical aggression that feels like a natural evolution of everything the club has always believed in. The shape is a fluid 4-2-3-1, where the defensive line pushes up near the halfway line, the press activates the instant possession is lost, and as many as 7 players flood the opposition half in a single wave. What makes this system so psychologically overwhelming is that there is no safe approach against it. Sitting deep does not work because Barcelona will pass through you with the technical quality to unlock any low block. Pressing high does not work either because the speed in behind punishes you the moment you overcommit. Every tactical response an opponent chooses leads to the same outcome, and that feeling of inevitability is something Barcelona have not generated since the Guardiola years. The obvious vulnerability is the space behind that high line, and whether the same intensity can survive Champions League knockout nights remains the question that separates a dominant domestic side from a European force. That answer is still being written, and the players Flick added over the summer were chosen specifically to help write it. The thing that separates Flick's recruitment from the way most elite clubs operate is that Barcelona are not collecting famous names and hoping chemistry develops on the training ground. Every player brought into this squad was identified because the system had a specific gap, and the player's profile matched the function that gap required. Anthony Gordon arrived from Newcastle in the summer of 2026 after a season of 17 goals and 5 assists across 46 matches, including 10 goals in 12 Champions League appearances. His recorded top speed placed him among the fastest wide players on the continent, and everything about his game feeds directly into what Flick demands. Gordon presses with relentless aggression, wins physical duels against bigger defenders, and attacks space behind high lines with directness that makes recovery runs feel pointless for anyone chasing him. Putting him on the left side of this attack removed the one flank opponents could previously target as the softer option, and that means there is no longer a safe side of the pitch to funnel play towards. Karim Adeyemi came from Borussia Dortmund for a modest fee given the profile Flick was getting. 10 goals and 6 assists in 39 matches does not immediately scream game changer, but Adeyemi's value lives in those 5 seconds after Barcelona win the ball back, and there are 30 or 40 meters of open grass ahead of him. The man exceeds 36 kilometers per hour, and Flick had already given him his senior Germany debut, so the tactical understanding was already in place before the transfer happened. Now imagine what opposing managers face when they prepare for this squad. Yamal isolates any fullback in the world one-on-one. Raphinha drifts centrally and combines through tight spaces. Gordon brings physical chaos from the left. Adeyemi turns high recoveries into immediate goal-scoring opportunities before defenders even have time to turn around. The attacking patterns have multiplied to the point where no single defensive plan accounts for all of them, and that depth of threat across every position is what turns a very good team into one that feels genuinely unfair to play against. Even with the attacking depth fully loaded, the system still carries a pressure point in the center of the pitch. Barcelona need a midfielder who can absorb the ball under pressure, protect the space when both fullbacks push forward, and give Pedri the freedom to operate higher without worrying about the coverage underneath him. That midfielder is Rodri. And as of August 2026, personal terms have been discussed with Barcelona, remaining optimistic that a deal with Manchester City can be completed. What Rodri would provide is the invisible structural work that determines whether a team can sustain its intensity across an entire season and multiple competitions simultaneously, progressive passing under pressure, positional intelligence that instinctively covers the gaps created by an aggressive system, and the composure in hostile environments that holds the team's shape together when everything around it is chaos. The partnership with Pedri would mirror the old Busquets and Iniesta dynamic, where one midfielder anchors from deep, while the other receives the ball in advanced positions with creative freedom. With Pedri, Dani Olmo, Fermin Lopez, Gavi, Marc Bernal, and Casado already available, adding Rodri would give Flick a midfield rotation capable of sustaining his physical demands across 60-plus matches without the intensity dropping in the spring months that have historically killed Barcelona campaigns. Every Barca supporter alive has lived through a March where the team that looked unstoppable in autumn suddenly looked like a side running on fumes. And Rodri is the kind of signing that makes that recurring nightmare feel like it belongs to a completely different era. If you have supported Barcelona through the post-Guardiola years, you carry a specific kind of scar tissue, and you know the pattern by heart. A new manager arrives with hope attached to his name. Results come for a while. Then, something fractures beneath the surface. The style drifts. The dressing room goes quiet. Europe delivers a humiliation nobody recovers from. And eventually, the club resets and starts the whole painful cycle over again. Villanova kept the system running until illness pulled him away. Luis Enrique delivered a treble powered by Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, but the model depended on 3 generational attackers rather than a sustainable system. Setien and Koeman never controlled results or the dressing room. Xavi restored youth and a title, then acknowledged that standards had slipped before anything lasting could be built. Flick broke the cycle because he arrived without the emotional baggage every previous manager carried. He respected the identity deeply enough to study it, but refused to be paralyzed by the Guardiola mythology. He restored the principles and gave them a physical edge, a pressing ferocity, and a vertical directness that feel like the philosophy growing up rather than being replaced. Players described clear tactical demands paired with genuine freedom inside the structure. And the dressing room responded with a level of belief you can see in how they play. Flick's contract was extended to 2028 after the second title confirmed this was built to endure. Every previous post-Guardiola manager felt like a chapter that would eventually close, and Flick feels like something that does not have an obvious ending. Real Madrid still employ some of the most gifted individual footballers on the planet, and nobody is pretending talent does not matter. But individual brilliance has failed to solve the collective problem. Flick's Barcelona present, and every window that passes makes the puzzle harder to crack. Barcelona can suffocate you with possession and tear you apart in transition within 3 passes. They can press you into catastrophic errors near your own goal and finish with clinical precision. Gordon and Adeyemi have multiplied the transition threat, and Rodri would supply the midfield anchor that allows the squad to sustain its aggression deeper into every competition without burning out. The High Line remains a calculated risk, and Champions League exits remind everyone this project still has something to prove on the biggest European stage. But the domestic evidence is so overwhelming that arguing against the direction feels futile. 5 trophies in 2 seasons, 6 wins from 7 Clásicos, and a squad still improving, while the next generation of La Masia graduates develops inside the same system, so the identity survives long after these players move on. Madrid's problem is no longer about closing a gap. The gap has been widened in Barcelona's favor and reinforced with signings designed to keep it that way for years. The finishing touches are being applied right now, and for anyone who bleeds white, that is the most uncomfortable reality in world football. Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us whether you think Flick can turn this domestic dominance into European glory, or whether Madrid will find a way to answer back before the window closes on them completely.